let's sing the ABCs. We're gonna sing this 2 times. So join in at home with me while we sing it slow the first time, and then once we get our confidence up, we're gonna sing it fast. You guys ready? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me? How'd you guys do? Did you get them all in there? You ready to sing it fast? Let's go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me? Great job. Our letter this week is the letter C. We've got a capital letter C and a lowercase c. See how they kind of look the same? But a capital C is bigger. All right, let's take our pointer fingers and we're gonna draw the letter C together. You're gonna start at the top, almost like you're gonna make a circle. So you're gonna start at the top and start to make a circle and then stop at the bottom. Letter C. Our American Sign Language is gonna be like this. Letter C, like this. So you're just gonna kind of like make a claw, letter C. And our second sign this week is gonna be cow. So you're gonna take your thumb out and your pinky finger out, like this. And you're gonna put it near your temple and wave it like this. Cow. All right, let's see what picture's on the back of the card today. We have a cat. Can you meow like a cat? Meow. What else starts with the letter C? Cookies? Or clouds? Or Kaylee? Those are some good C words. Can you think of any other C words? What did you come up with? Good job, friends. All right, we'll see you next week for another letter. Today we're going to read books about cows. Our first story is called Pass It On by Marilyn Sadler. Pass it on. One day, B went to visit his friend, Cow. B looked in the barn. He searched down by the river. He even checked under the apple tree. I don't see a cow. Finally, B found Cow in the back field. Cow was stuck in the fence. B offered to find help. I will get help, said the bee. Bee buzzed to Frog's pad and said, Cow is stuck in the fence. Pass it on. Frog quickly hopped to tell Pig. Frog said, Cow, put a duck in the tent. Pass it on. That's not what they were supposed to say. Pig trotted to tell Goose. Pig said, Cow's tent fell on a woodchuck. Pass it on. Goose waddled to tell Dog. Cow and Hen had good luck. Pass it on, said Goose. Dog ran to the house and barked at Kitten. A good duck gave Cow a penny. Pass it on, said Dog. Kitten ran inside and meowed to Mouse. Cow has money! Pass it on, said Kitten. Mouse rushed outside and down the hill to tell Hen. Cow has milk and honey. Pass it on, said Mouse. Said Hen. I like milk and honey. Now I'm hungry. Hen and Mouse went to find Cow to get some milk and honey. What they heard was, where's the duck? I could use some luck. I need that penny. I like money. Is that woodchuck okay? Look, the cow is stuck in the fence. And there's the bee, and the bee says, that's what I said an hour ago. And the mouse is down here saying, where's the honey? Cow needs our help. Let's work together. Ready? Ready. 1, 2, 3, move!
Oh my goodness. Then Cow invited everyone who helped to the barn for milk and honey. And Bee passed the honey. Pass it on. The end.
Our rhyme this week is about, you guessed it, cows. It sounds a lot like This Little Piggy, which we play on our toes sometimes, but for this rhyme, all we're going to use is our hand. All right, we're going to pretend we have 5 cows on our hand as we sing the song, and this is how it goes. This little cow eats grass, this little cow eats hay, this little cow drinks water, this little cow runs away. This little cow does nothing but sleep in the grass all day. We'll chase her, we'll chase her, we'll chase her right away. If you're doing this rhyme with somebody else, a friend or a sibling or a grown-up, on the chase part, it can be fun to tickle if you're comfortable with that. You can tickle your grown-up or they can tickle you. Let's sing it one more time together. Got your cows ready? This little cow eats grass. This little cow eats hay. This little cow drinks water. This little cow runs away. This little cow does nothing but sleep in the grass all day. Ready? We'll chase her, we'll chase her, we'll chase her right away. Welcome to our first episode of Between Two Bookshelves. Since our letter this week is C, we thought it would be fun to interview one of our librarians, Miss Kaylee, and find out a little bit more about her. Thank you for joining us today, Miss Kaylee.
My pleasure.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. We just have a few questions for you.
Okay.
How long have you worked at Kent Free Library?
Almost 6 years.
All right. And you've enjoyed it here?
Yep. I really like working here with Miss Shelley and Miss Leah. We have a lot of fun.
All right. What is something you really enjoy about your job?
I love getting to meet the people of Kent. I love hanging out with kids all day and just having fun with our patrons, doing programming and story times.
Can you tell us about your favorite picture book?
Ooh, my favorite picture book. Let's just go with Madeline, which was my favorite picture book when I was a kid. It's about this spunky girl named Madeline who lives in Paris, and I loved that she got her appendix out and she was very brave, and I loved when she stuck her tongue out at the lion. It just really spoke to me as a child.
What are some hobbies you enjoy outside of work?
Well, I play a lot of music at home and play video games. I like to assemble models and do puzzles, all kinds of stuff.
All right, now some fun questions.
Okay.
You're a new addition to the crayon box. What color would you be and why?
Probably pink. It's one of my favorite colors and I think it's a good crayon.
Okay, second fun question. If you had a choice between two superpowers, being invisible or flying, which would you choose?
I would choose flying. I have always wanted to be able to fly, and I think I would get more use out of it.
Can you make any animal noises, Miss Kaylee?
I make a pretty good dolphin sound.
Let's hear it.
Okay.
That is a pretty good one.
All right, thanks for joining us today, Miss Kaylee, on Letter C Week.
The next book is a book called Cindy Moo by Lori Mortensen. Cindy Moo. Hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle, the cow jumped over the moon. The little dog laughed to see such sport, and the dish ran away with the spoon. Over at the diddle farm, a little bit past 8, the cows all heard a nursery rhyme that caused a great debate. Diddle cows stood in the barn and listened to each word about the cow that jumped the moon, amazed at what they heard. Across the moon? cried Buttercup. No way, said Honeybun. The moon's too high and much too far. It simply can't be done. And as the cows scoffed at the thought, a voice rose loud and true. Why can't a cow jump to the moon? That voice was Cindy Moo's. The cows began to argue. Each took a different side, but in the end, they all confessed that none of them had tried. So Cindy Moo raised up a hoof and said that it was true. If that cow could jump the moon, by golly, I can too. As Cindy Moo waltzed to the field, the others gathered round. She jumped that moon with room to spare in one grand bovine bound. She pawed her hooves, she shook her head, she ran and picked up speed, and with a mighty moo, she jumped. Let's see if she made it. Across a prickly weed. Oh, she fell. Told you so, said Honeybun. Too bad, said Buttercup. Cows weren't meant to jump to the moon. Why don't you just give up? But Cindy Moo ignored her friends. She'd made a solemn vow. She'd jump across the silver moon as soon as she knew how. She's gonna keep trying. The next night after grazing, she caught a stunning sight. The moon was perched up on the hill, a ball of silver light. Cindy Moo let out a snort and charged up to the top. But when she reached the grassy peak, she skidded to let's see. Stop! Instead of staying on the hill, much to her surprise, the moon flew off the grassy ridge, back up to star-filled skies. The moon moved higher. Cindy Moo plopped on the ground. Would it be for naught? Jumping to the moon, she said, is harder than I thought. Back inside the barn that night, the worst of all came true. Rain clouds swept the moon away. Now what was she to do? She couldn't jump what wasn't there. Perhaps the herd was right. The moon and cows would never mix, not then or any night. But late that night when raindrops stopped, she peeked outside and found the moon had slipped down to the earth upon the rain-soaked ground. Do you see this? This is a reflection. So the moon didn't really come down, it's just a reflection in the water. Cindy Moo kicked up her heels and raced with all her might, and with a happy moo, she jumped across the moon that night. See, it's down low now, the reflection, so she jumped over it. Her friends came out and marveled much. Miss Moo, you've done it now. A cow can really jump the moon, as long as she knows how. And ever since that rainy night, the cows do not debate. Whenever rain clouds pass their way and it's growing late, they gaze upon the puddled moon and jump it 2 by 2. And guess who leads the diddle herd? Of course, it's Cindy Moo. The end.
Instead of a craft this week, we're going to learn how to draw a cow. I'm going to use a permanent marker and just some plain white paper. If you want to go ahead and gather those things up at home, it doesn't have to be a permanent marker. A pencil or pen will work fine as well. And I'm going to have you come in close to my paper and I'm going to draw it upside down for you. So you just draw exactly what you see as we go through. All right? So the first thing we're going to draw for our cow is the head. And since our body is going to extend this way on our paper, we're going to try and draw our head closer to this side here. And for the head, we're going to draw kind of a rectangle with rounded edges. I'll draw it first and then you can try and copy it on your paper. See how it's kind of a rectangle, but we've rounded the edges so they're a little softer. All right, we're going to divide the head with a semicircle from one side to the other, just like that. And this shows us where the cow's muzzle or mouth is. And we're going to put some big nostrils right here for the cow's nose. If you've ever looked at a cow's nose, they have huge nostrils. It makes them look especially cute, I think. All right, and then up top here, we're gonna draw 2 little eyes, kind of spread far apart, like that. All right, you can start to see your cow's face taking shape. Next, we're gonna add the ears off to the sides. So we'll do one side of the ear and the other side, just like that. And we're gonna do exactly the same thing on the other side. So if you don't know exactly where to start over here, I like to hover over where I started on that side, and that gives me a good starting point for this side. There's one half of the ear, and then bring it back in. All right, there's our ears. Now we're gonna add some little horns on top of the cow's head. So we're gonna look where that joint is, right where the ear comes into the head, and we're gonna bring that up just a little bit to a point, and then back down to the head, just like that, little horn. Same thing on the other side, right where that joint is, bring it up to where you brought the other horn up to, and then bring it back down to the head. And there we have our cow's head. Now it's time to draw the body, all right? And we are going to use our head to help us. So we're gonna start, if you look at the muzzle or mouth of your cow, we're gonna put our pen the best you can right in the middle of that. And that's where our body's gonna start. Then we're gonna bring our pen down, around, and back up to the head, or top of the head, or the ear, right between the horn and the ear. Now, the cow's body can be as big or as little as you want it to. You go ahead and make yours the way you like it. Once you've got that done, we're gonna add the legs. All right, we're gonna use the same starting point right in the middle of the muzzle where we did the body, and we're gonna bring down 3 lines for our legs. So we want all of our legs to stop at the same point, so they're all the same length. A cow with different length legs would look pretty silly. So choose where you want that first one to stop, then slide over a little bit. We're gonna draw the second one and the third line. All right, for the hooves, we're just going to draw rounded hooves like this, kind of like 2 little bubbles, and we're gonna draw a line across and color those in. And there's our first 2 legs. All right, let's do the back legs. So we're gonna start near the end of the cow's body over here, and we're gonna do exactly the same thing we did with these 3 lines. Bring them down to the same point. So there's 1, 2, 3. Oh, those are not even. If you don't think they're even, go ahead and add just a little length to even them up. And then we're gonna add our rounded hooves, just like before. Draw the line and color those in as well. You should see your cow really taking shape now. And cows have a tail, so let's go ahead and add a tail over here. So tails are kind of fun. You can make them go whichever way you want to. So we're going to draw one side of the tail, and then I'm going to do this upside down. So we're going to slowly track another line right beside that first one. They have kind of skinny tails, just like that. And then on the end, you can add a little bit of hair. They have a little bit of hair there. All right, now comes the fun part. So this cow is going to be a Holstein cow, which are the black and white spotted cows. And drawing spots on your cow can be really fun because you can make them literally any shapes that you want. They look like spilled milk sometimes. Just make sure you start and end them. And sometimes you can put them on the side. You can make them as squiggly as you want and end them on the side. You can do one back here on its back, a really tiny one if you want to. And sometimes it's fun if you add them around the eyes, so you give them kind of an eye patch, like that. We can do one over here too. All right, and now all that's left is to color in your cow, all right? Thanks for drawing.
So what are cows most famous for making? That's right, milk. Not only is milk a delicious and nutritious drink, it's also used to make one of my favorite foods, ice cream. So today we're going to try a super simple recipe using only 2 ingredients made from milk. We've got a pint of heavy whipping cream and a can of sweetened condensed milk. This one's 14 ounces. This is the easiest ice cream recipe I've ever seen, so I'm really interested to see if it works. You don't need any special equipment. You just need something to whip the heavy cream with. And today I'm going to be using a hand mixer. You can use an immersion blender, a stand mixer. You can even put the heavy whipping cream into a mason jar and shake it until it becomes cream. You might be able to use a can of Ready Whip if you wanted to try that and make it even easier. But today we're just going to be using this and this. So I make a lot of ice cream at home, and usually it involves eggs and cooking and a special machine. So we're going to see if this works, and if it does, that'd be great. And if it doesn't, then we just learned a lesson. You can't believe everything that you read on the internet. So I've poured the heavy whipping cream into the bowl, and we're gonna start whipping it soon. But one of the great things about this recipe is that you can flavor it however you want. You can use extracts like vanilla or almond or even mint. You can use spices like cinnamon. You can mix in things like crushed up cookies or candy or even fresh fruit or jelly. If you're using an extract, I recommend putting it in the cream before you whip it. If you're going to use something chunkier like cookies or fruit, then fold them in just before you put it in the freezer. And I'll tell you when to do that when we get to that point. But before I whip it, I'm going to pour in this vanilla. Right like that. That's about a teaspoon of vanilla. And I'm also going to put in a pinch of salt so that it's not too sweet. Not a lot, just a tiny bit, like that much. Just put it in there, and I'm going to start whipping. So this is going to be pretty loud. We're going to mute it and speed it up. I'll show you what it should look like at the very end. So this is what you're looking for. Nice stiff peaks. It took about 3 minutes to get to this point. You don't want it to be too liquidy, but you also don't want to go for too long because then you'll have butter, which would not make very good ice cream. So now we are going to fold in our can of sweetened condensed milk. We have to do this very gently and slowly so that we don't deflate the cream too much. I'm also going to add a little sprinkle of pumpkin pie spice because we didn't have as much vanilla as I thought we did, so I want to add a little bit more flavor. So I'm just going to sprinkle that in, and it'll mix in as I fold in the sweetened condensed milk. There's that. Okay, so just a little bit at a time. We're going to drip it in, okay, and fold it. Use a scooping motion from the bottom to the top. And so instead of stirring, you're just gently folding. I'm gonna add a little bit more. Doesn't look like ice cream yet, does it? And a little bit more. So this recipe has no sugar in it because the sweetened condensed milk is plenty sweet, which makes it easy because you know it's not going to be grainy and you don't have to cook the sugar down. And since there's no eggs, you don't have to worry about cooking it either. All right, almost there. When you fold in the last little bit of it, you want to fold it until it's just mixed and then get it in the freezer so that the cream doesn't deflate too much. Very gently fold it until it all looks pretty much the same. And then you can transfer this to an 8x8 pan or a loaf pan, anything that will fit in your freezer. I'm just going to leave it in this bowl, and then you're going to cover it with some wax paper. This will stop ice crystals from forming on the top of your ice cream, which would make it not very creamy. Okay, so we're just gonna push this down into the top. It's gonna touch the top part of your ice cream. And then I'm going to move this into the freezer. You wanna freeze it for at least 6 hours and eat it before 2 weeks. We'll come back once this is frozen and do a taste test. All right, it's been 24 hours. Our ice cream is good and frozen, so now we're gonna give it a taste test. Let's see. All right, it looks like ice cream. It feels like ice cream. Okay, here's the moment of truth. Whoops. It tastes like ice cream. I would say that this is a pretty good recipe to try at home. If I were to make it again, I would add a little bit more flavoring. The vanilla that they tell you to add isn't quite enough. It's not really coming through, but I can taste the pumpkin pie spice that we added. So if whatever you're adding, just taste it before you freeze it and see if you need to fold in a little bit more. And if you give this a try at home, make sure you comment down below and tell us how it works out. Tell us what flavor combos you used. And if you use a can of Ready Whip or two, then let us know about that too.
For our yoga meditation pose this week, we are going to be doing the cat-cow stretch. I have pulled this awesome yoga book from the library shelves so that you could take a look at the pose before we try it ourselves. So in the book, you can see there's a little boy trying the cat-cow pose. This is really a stretch for our back. So at one point, we're going to be kind of scooping our back down, our belly towards the floor, and that's the cow pose. And we'll breathe out when we do the cow pose, and then we'll swoop our head down and our back rounded like a cat when they're stretching, and breathe in, and that's the cat part. So we'll go from cow to cat and back again. All right, let's give it a try. Put our book up there. So the first thing we need to do is get down on all fours. All right, you want to try and line your hips up over your knees. You're going to bend forward, spread your fingers wide on the floor, and do your best to line your hands up so they're right underneath your shoulder. All right, so now we're going to go into cow pose. Remember, we're going to breathe in and scoop our back down towards the floor and are looking up if you can, and then push your breath out. Round your back and roll your head under. Let's try it 2 more times. Ready? Cow. All the way up, belly down, and cat. Round your back as high as you can. 1 more time. Cow. And breathe out. Cat. This is a great stretch for your back. If you ever feel like your back is tight and you need to stretch out, try cat-cow pose.
And now it's time to say goodbye with a Kent Free Library favorite, Skinnamarink.